During his 27 years in charge of Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson was the master of the mind game. Be it locking horns and getting under the skin of opposing managers to deflecting attention and scrutiny away from his players, the Scot knew every trick in the book and would use it to his side's advantage. Managers, players, officials, pitchers and even the Red Devils' own kit, nothing was safe from the wrath of the legendary Scot as he tried to dictate the narrative. And obviously that included the media and football pundits alike. During United's 20 years as the dominant force in English football, Ferguson regularly bemoaned the gang of ex-Liverpool players in the media who, he felt, gave his side unfair criticism while letting their former club off lightly. Perhaps he had a point. Without trawling back through 30 years of Premier League punditry to identify any potential bias, there is no escaping that the Reds have seen a number of their former players turn to media careers after deciding to hang up their boots. Alan Hansen, Mark Lawrenson and Phil Thompson were arguably the most notable across BBC Sport and Sky Sports, with the former's "You can't win anything with kids" declaration still infamous in popular culture 26 years later. Ferguson would often get caught up in a war of words with his compatriot, with the duo having history dating back to Hansen's own playing days when the then Scotland boss left him out of his squad for the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. One public back and forth between the duo took place in the early months of 2012 after Ferguson took issue with something Hansen had said on Match of the Day and used his programme notes to hit back at the former Liverpool man, before later scrutinising his motivation behind such criticism, in a retort rather similar to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's own response to comments from Jamie Carragher earlier this week. "H has got a responsible position in the role he has in football," Ferguson said. "It's obvious to me that he said what he said in the week before we played Liverpool and I can understand that HES, a former Liverpool player, and Kenny Dalglish is his pal. That's no problem with me. H has maybe tried to shake things up a bit but he should be more responsible really." Of course, this was not an isolated incident and it should be no surprise that Liverpool, having been the dominant side in English football in the 70s and 80s, were equally dominant when it came to representation by former players in the media following the formation of the Premier League. To this day, that still remains the case with the likes of Jamie Carragher, Jamie Redknapp, Graham Souness, Peter Crouch, Michael Owen, Steve McManaman and Danny Murphy, all former Reds who are regulars on Sky Sports, BT Sport and BBC Sport. But as Liverpool's multi-First Division and European champions turned to the media when it came for a change of career, the same is now happening with former United players following the end of the Red Devils' own dominance after Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, Patrice Evra and Owen Hargreaves are all regulars across the same networks, while Phil Neville was too before his latest stint in management with Inter Miami. As Ferguson would clash regularly with Hansen, Jurgen Klopp has exchanged crosswords with the likes of the elder Neville brother and Keane in the past. But with the former United boss previously accusing Hansen of bias because HES, a former Liverpool player, and Kenny is his pal, Neville is arguably now guilty of the same. Despite spending over £120 million on Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane and Cristiano Ronaldo in the summer, the Red Devils have endured a difficult start to the season, suffering defeats to Young Boys, Aston Villa and Leicester City, drawing with Southampton and Everton and exiting the League Cup at the hands of West Ham United. Down in sixth in the Premier League table as a result, 5 points behind leaders Chelsea, their next league clash is at home to Liverpool and precedes meetings with the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal, amid their Champions League exploits, over the next 6 weeks. Manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is understandably under pressure as a result, and is up against it to turn this around when judging their upcoming fixtures on paper. Yet Neville has admitted he is not overly critical of United and his former teammate. He should be under massive pressure because he's been there for 2 years, 100%, Neville said on the latest edition of Monday Night Football. But the club are not going to change him. I have Manchester United fans on my social media saying you won't call him out because he's your mate. No, I won't. I won't call out any manager and ask for them to be sacked. He's my former teammate and I actually like him a lot. Manchester United have failed with 2 managers who are perceived as world-class. I think you give him until the end of the season. I disagree with Jamie Carragher. If you win a trophy and finish in the top 4, that is progress. The pressure is building though. What a collection of players. He has to get them to perform. In contrast, Neville has not held back when it comes to Liverpool's supposed failings in the past, famously insisting his former club would win the league again before the Reds at the start of Klopp's side's title-winning year. I can guarantee you as clear as day, Manchester United will win again, he said back in 2019. They'll probably win the league before Liverpool, in my opinion. And that's not being disrespectful, they'll probably win the league before Liverpool. It genuinely does not concern me because it can be corrected by a little bit of money on the stadium and good decisions in the boardroom and good decisions in the recruitment department. What I'm saying is, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, Hotspur, all these clubs have had poor recruitment policies over the last 25 or 30 years at times. So United are going through one at the moment. Eventually they will stumble upon the right recruitment system, the right recruitment people, they'll get a great manager, hopefully that's all, and they'll start to win again. That's going to happen. Yet, 2 years on and United aren't winning again under Solskjaer.